Welcome, everyone. Hello, hello. So, in addition to those of us who are here today, we have beautiful people who are joining us as we speak on Zoom. They're joining us on YouTube and on Facebook. So, the live stream is just starting up. It's connected? Lovely. Welcome, everyone. Alapa. We're so happy to have you here today. We have our guest speaker, William Maxwell. The assemblies for Pinellas County and, of course, Clearwater welcomes Mr. Maxwell as we have, on very short notice, I believe, over the course of 3 days, pulled it all together. What a miracle, right? A quick introduction before we begin about who our guest speaker is, for those of you who are just meeting him. William Maxwell became a Baha'i in 1952. He served as the first Baha'i pioneer to Korea starting in 1955 during Shoyi Effendi's 10-year crusade. With a unique distinction of serving on 4 national spiritual assemblies, he was the first chairman of the NSA of Northeast Asia in 1957 and was twice elected to the NSA of the United States. In 1968, he was among the first appointees to the Continental Board of Counselors. Dr. Maxwell earned his doctorate at Harvard University and has written or edited 17 books. He currently resides at the Desert Rose Baha'i Institute in Eloy, Arizona. With that said, once more, we welcome Dr. Maxwell.
Thank you. Do I stand or do I sit?
Please, either or.
Either or.
Or a combination.
Or a combination. No, I'll sit. It's bad to look down upon people. Several years ago, back in 2001, I went to Europe at the behest of my university to invite all the old universities of the world to come to Phoenix for a conference on thinking. And I was welcomed beautifully, ceremonially, at the oldest university in the world, Bologna, and at Padua University. At both universities, the pulpit, they actually used pulpits, were about 12 feet high. They showed me the pulpit from which Galileo would stand. It doesn't feel natural. It's wonderful to be in Clearwater. There's a healthy atmosphere here, thanks to Gilbert Hakim and all of you. You realize, of course, that places have an aura like people have an aura. And sometimes you can feel it, the warmth and the love. So let me tell you what I'm going to do with you, hopefully. My job is about 5 jobs to do with you. 1, every speaker has an obligation to affirm the validity of the audience. You are real. You're worthwhile. You're on a mission. You're on a route to somewhere, hopefully heaven. So to confirm that. So my job is to affirm you first, which I hope to try to do, and then to tell you something you do not know. So you have something to talk about when you get back home with your family. Something you don't know. And then a lot that you know that you need affirmation about. For example, Moses taught all of the Jews, affirm every day the intellectual quality of your children. You affirm the intellectual quality of your children by conversing with them intellectually, meaningfully. So my job then is to do all of those things, plus, if possible, inspire you to become, not by my word, but by the word of God, a better person. That's my job. I'm going to try to do it in about, according to TED Talks, I have 18 minutes. That's the limit. And I tell all my pastor friends, if you go beyond 18 minutes, you've broken the rule. One time I'm flying from London back to Phoenix, and I went into the airport bookstore, and I didn't see any books that I needed to read. There was one. It's called Talk Like Ted. It's a short little book. So I picked it up, and I decided to read it all the way home to Phoenix. Well, by the time we got to Newfoundland, I'd already finished the book. So then I could watch the movie or something. The essence of the book was, the research shows that back in the 1930s, the adult attention span was about 35 minutes. That was according to research back in the 30s. Today, though, the adult attention span has dropped to 18 minutes. So you won't see a TED Talk that goes beyond 18 minutes. So I said, this doesn't make sense, because every university lecture is about 45 minutes. So I ran home. As soon as I got home, I didn't even undress. I ran to the Bible to find the most famous speech in the world. Guess what it is? The Sermon on the Mount. So I read it as I thought Jesus would read it. And lo and behold, exactly 18 minutes. If you don't believe me, go home and read it. Matthew 5. So let me try to tell you something you know. Or at least you did know as a child. You, I, every human on earth, was created as an act of love. We are the product of an act of love. And according to Baha'u'llah, every religion makes that affirmation in one way or another. So let me read to you how Baha'u'llah put it, because he wrote this little book about 1855 to summarize everything that Zoroaster taught, everything that Buddha taught, everything that Krishna taught, everything that Zoroaster, Buddha, Krishna on the east, everything that Moses, Jesus, Muhammad taught on the west, on the Abrahamic religions. He said they all taught the same religion. There's not 12 religions in the world. He said there's just one religion, and they all taught basically the same thing. So here's about 120 you'll find in all of those religions. So let me read him. O Son of Man, veiled in my immemorial being and in the ancient eternity of my essence, I knew my love for thee. Therefore I created thee, have engraved on thee mine image, and revealed to thee my beauty. This statement, some scientists decided, how did God engrave himself on us? They went into the brain and started looking for specialization. Do you know that you have a brain cell, a whole bunch of millions of brain cells devoted to your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your son, your daughter? And there's a bunch of brain cells devoted to the stranger. And right at the very top, they found some brain cells that connect to what Carl Jung called the universal mind, and what most religions call Allah, Jehovah, God. They're parts of your brain connected to God. And therefore, inside you, all of us, that's something you knew that as a child, but our culture takes that knowledge away from us and brings in doubt. But it must come back over and over again. So that's something you knew and you didn't quite know maybe. Let me tell you something else you did not know, or maybe knew, but you suspected. Every religion that's legitimate opens its door to everybody. However, some particular sects say, well, if you're this, you can't come in. If you're that, you can't come in. One time I was in the U.S. Navy ROTC, and some midshipmen and I stopped off here in Pensacola, Florida. It was a Sunday, and a beautiful Sunday in Pensacola. So 5 of us, I'm the only black among them, 5 of us decided to go to the local nearest Protestant church. And there was one within walking distance of the harbor where I think it was the Wisconsin, the battleship was where we were. 5 of us go walking up to the church. And as we got close to the church, 5 strong, big football-type men stood at the door and said to us 5 midshipmen, all about age 20, 19 or 20, "You're not welcome here." We humans are strange creatures. We listened to God one day and turned our backs on him the next day. I became a Baha'i in 1952, as our chairman politely said. 52, that's a long time ago. I wasn't really a Baha'i, but I was getting close to believing in this religion. So I go to Chicago to the opening of that 10-year crusade. I don't think anybody here was born at that time. You're too young. Anybody born in 52 or earlier? 53? You were? Okay, you were born. Oh, come on. Anyway, I go to Wilmette, where 6,000 Baha'is are gathering to begin the 10-year crusade that Shoghi Effendi designed. I was 24, knew nothing of this religion. I had just become a Baha'i. I sit there among 5,000 other people, and suddenly across the stage, an elegant 45-year-old woman comes to the stage. And something in me opened my spiritual eye. And I said to myself, this religion can produce a saint. I was confirmed a little bit further into the Baha'i faith by witnessing the demeanor, the body language, the smile, the warmth, the radiance of a saintly human being. Her name was Dorothy Baker. She was from Lima, Ohio. I knew then that this religion was probably legitimate. I had become a Baha'i as a favor to somebody. They said, "William, we need 9 people to form an assembly in Corvallis, Oregon. Why don't you join the religion?" Oh, okay, why not? No big harm. It was final exam time for me. I was getting ready to graduate. I didn't have time to read all these Baha'i books. But why not? I joined the religion, and I'm sure everybody here has similar stories to tell. I didn't know what I was doing. I was welcomed into the faith in Salem, Oregon by Charles Bishop, a member of the 5 families of the rich, speckled family of Hawaii. Charles was about 80 years old, white-haired, gracious older man. When I signed that card, something came over me. I felt a warmth, a love. And I wanted, for the first time in my life, to embrace a stranger, so to speak, a man. I embraced it. It was a spirit beyond my control. There was a love that wafted over me. Religion does that to the human soul. You feel a warmth, a love in the true religion. All my life I've gone to many churches, everywhere I can go. And you can feel the love. Still, in all the older religions too. I was with 900 Muslims in Tirana, Albania. Now, I'm about 90 years old, 85 or something, and they sit on the floor. For an 85-year-old man sitting on the floor cross-legged, how can he get up? But I did. But I felt the warmth there. Praying to God with 900 other men, there was a spirit there, the legitimacy. So the religion that I belong to, the religion that most of the people here belong to, is a continuation of the Abrahamic line of religion, and it's a continuation of the Aryan. Where's Mr. Arya? There he is over there. It's a continuation of the Arya line of religion. There are two big basic religions. There's the Aryan, which is Krishna, the founder of Hinduism, which went corrupt after several thousand years, and Buddha tried to reform it unsuccessfully. Zoroaster tried to reform it to some degree successfully. And that's the Aryan religion. On the other side is the Abrahamic religion, and Abraham had 3 different wives or mates. He had children by 3 different. The first one was Sarah, who gave us Jesus and Moses and Jesus and so on. The next one was Hagar, who gave us Ishmael and Mohammed. And the third one was Keturah. In the Bible, it mentions her only in 2 verses. She's the mother of the Persians. So the founder of this religion, the second founder of this religion, came from that both sides of the tree of religion. Baha'u'llah and the Bab. You never heard those names before, perhaps. The Bab was a direct descendant of Muhammad, and he was therefore qualified to wear the green turban. Baha'u'llah was of the other side also of the Sassanid dynasty of Persia, which came out of Zoroastrianism. You don't know Zoroastrianism because the Bible doesn't tell you much about it, except it does. Guess who found Jesus? The 3 wise men. Sometimes they're called wise men. Sometimes they're called in songs the kings. These were Zoroastrian priests. Were called magi in some places. Zoroaster predicted Jesus would come at exactly a certain moment in history, at a certain place. So all the religions are merged in the Baha'i religion in 1,000 different ways. One more way, and then I'm going to go back to the stories that Gilbert wanted to hear about. I mentioned that this little book contains the essence of all those religions. They all say pretty much the same thing. For example, you teach your children as often as possible the golden rule. You better do it very often because kids have a way of forgetting, like old folks. So teach them the golden rule because that exists in all religions. Well, not only is it the golden rule there in every religion, all these words are in every religion. Evidence? Pearl, the first woman to win the Nobel Prize in Literature, was a missionary to China. Ma'am? Pearl Buck, you're right. Her father was a missionary, and she was a child, basically. He reported to her and to everybody when his job was to translate the Bible into pure Mandarin Chinese. In order to do that, he had to read Buddhist scripture. And he discovered, my Lord, there are 35 verses in the Bible that match 35 verses in Buddhist scripture. They all say the same thing. There's a heaven up there. Some of them say there's a hell down there. They put it in different ways. But they all say there's a heaven up there, and you get there by being pure. Jesus put it this way. Blessed of the pure in heart, for they shall see God. That's a little passive. That sounds like being pure of heart is a gift. You get there by being pure in heart. But Baha'u'llah clarifies that in his first great full-volume theological book called the Kitab-i-Gan. He said, in effect, paraphrasing, you want to get to heaven? Purify your heart. Cleanse your heart. Do you see the subtle difference? In the Baha'i faith, it means you determine whether or not you're going to have a pure heart. You determine whether or not you're going to be pure in heart. It's not a gift. You have to work on it. Therefore, I'm saying to my cousins over here, Jerry Bowles and Carol, this is the first time you've ever been to a Baha'i religion, I think, a meeting. They've never heard the Baha'i faith before. The essence of the Baha'i faith is the Baha'i faith affirms the Christian religion. It praises the Jewish religion. It proves the validity of the Islamic religion. And it brings forth evidences of the validity of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Zoroastrianism. And Baha'u'llah mentions hundreds of other religions whose names are lost. So there's one religion in history. Its new name that Jesus promised us is Baha'i. So that's all I'm going to say about the Baha'i religion as a religion. Now I'm going to try to please Gilbert, because he wanted to know something about what happened during that 10-year period from 53 to 63, 1953 to 63. So let me tell a couple of stories, staying within the 18-minute limits. In 53, there were roughly 5,000 Baha'is in America. In 63, there were 57,000. Something like that. Oh, no, I got my numbers wrong. It was 5,000 in 53, 10,000 in 63. That's the number that I should tell you. But simultaneously, there were 12 national assemblies in 53 and 57 in 63. That's the big jump. How did that happen? All kinds of divine things happen. I'll tell one of my little stories. I became a Baha'i and was promptly drafted into the military. And in the military, we are allowed to be conscientious objectors. We Baha'is don't like to run around the world killing people. We like to be conscientious objectors. We'll serve in the Army as medics, hospital-type people. I was in the 43rd MASH. We're getting from San Francisco to Korea. This is 1954. And anytime you leave San Francisco by ship, the ship is going to really rock the boat. You got to upchuck everything. It's really bad. Way out in the Pacific, about a day out, the Pacific gets calm, and I had a strange dream. I saw the 32nd Psalm roll before my face out of the Bible, the 32nd Psalm. And I saw it so clearly I could read the whole Psalm. Then I looked in my duffel bag. There's no Bible there. So I went around that place and I asked anybody, does anyone have a Bible? No one did. Next compartment. Oh yeah, here's a Bible. I looked in the 32nd Psalm and that Psalm did not match what I had seen in my dream. Something's wrong. So I went into another compartment. Does anyone have a Bible? Yeah. 32nd Psalm. Yep, my dream. It matches. It was the King James Version. In the rush of great waters, all thy sins are forgiven. I knew that all my sins were washed away. I'm going to Korea, quote, quote, relatively pure if I don't sin anymore. I get to Korea, 43rd MASH in Wonju, Korea, and the food was horrible. I opened a bowl of cornflakes and there were worms running around in the cornflakes from the army. Ah! I go to the PX and buy some food and go next door. There was a Captain Kim, a Korean assigned to our unit. Captain Kim, can I come to your house and open this can of soup and have a real meal? Oh yeah, I did. Captain Kim asked me some questions. Koreans are very curious. What religion are you? I'm a Baha'i. What is the Baha'i faith about? I told him. A few days later, Captain Kim decided to become a Baha'i. What did that do for my soul? I felt validated. He was an intelligent man who spoke wonderful English. Years later, Mary and I are in Fresno. I'm dean of the School of Education at Cal State Fresno. I get a call. Captain Kim, he's coming up to visit me from Los Angeles. He drives up in this huge, monstrous BMW luxury vehicle. This is the Captain Kim I knew in Korea. He's become a successful businessman in Los Angeles. A few days after Kim became a Baha'i, 23 students at the university suddenly became a Baha'i. They came to my fireside beginning in September, and by December, all 19 medical students and 4 non-medical students had become a Baha'i. So we established the first assembly in Gwangju. It was a big story. Shoghi Effendi had told us all the things to do. For example, I had a Baha'i ring. Shoghi Effendi said, be prudent, don't flash your ring on. So I'm walking downtown in the summer of 55 and I lose my ring. But the Koreans are clever. They want to know 5 things about you. How old are you? First question, how old are you? Are you married? What's your religion? How many children do you have? And when I said, they all asked, what is your religion? I told them Baha'i. What is that? They never heard of it. They were open and curious. Most of them were Buddhists, half Christian. But now Shoghi Effendi sends a cable to me later. The American NSA sends a cable to every pioneer everywhere in the world. This is 55. The Baha'i the Master Class, not Master Class, the Hazarate Codes in Tehran has been attacked by the Persian army. Made the front page of the New York Times. Shoghi Effendi then said to all of us, through the American NSA, send a cable to the government of Iran protesting. Off to the post office I go, I send the cable exactly as Shoghi Effendi wanted to be said. It cost me $35. My salary at the time was $30. That was us pioneers. But guess what? The world knew that the Baha'i faith was very alive in 100 and some odd countries now. And they knew that the Persian might relent. And they did to some degree, although persecution went on and off, on and off, and on and off. But Shoghi Effendi did 1,000 things to help us realize that God was working with us. Don't pronounce your faith. Be so pure as you can possibly be, that people will be attracted to you. You will attract people when your character is pure. So you have to parade up and down the street with banners raving, I'm a Baha'i, come and listen to me. No. Just be pure in heart and they will come to you. Then Shoghi Effendi showed his own wisdom. I'm in Korea getting discharged from the army to sell at the university. So my discharge is in June. Class doesn't start till September. The Army gave me $300 to put in my pocket for my discharge. So I write a letter. Dear Shoghi Effendi, there's no classes going on where I'm going to be a teacher. May I come on the pilgrimage? I had $300 in my pocket. The cost of a round-trip ticket from Korea to Haifa was $1,350. Ruhi Khanum, his wife, writes back, Dear William, or Dear Bill, whatever they use, Shoghi Effendi thinks it would be better if you pioneer and come on your pilgrimage later. He knew I didn't have $1,350. Okay, so I go pioneering and go to Gwangju and meet everybody. Everybody wants to meet me because I'm the first American to live there outside the missionary compound. And everybody in Korea wanted to meet Americans at that time. My houses are flooded with people all the time. Then in March of '59, I get a letter from Leroy, Iowa. Dear William, we were going through Shoghi Effendi's papers, and we see that he has a note to invite you on the pilgrimage. We've scheduled you for your pilgrimage May 2nd, 1959. Can you come? But now I'm working for the Army. I have plenty of money. Off to Haifa I go. And I melt in Haifa because that place is so holy. Everywhere you go, you feel the holiness. Shoghi Effendi knew everything about everything. He's the fourth leader of the Baha'i faith. And last story, and I'm going to stop and take some questions from you so we don't go over too many minutes. The Northeast Asia NSA, based in Tokyo, serving Japan, Korea, Macau, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Okinawa. Okinawa was not a part of Japan at that time. That Northeast Asia Assembly, Shoghi Effendi said $150,000 to us to buy a temple site, a house of worship site, 13 acres of land, which we did. We bought 13 acres of land for $150,000 that Shoghi Effendi sent to us. Years later, I'm in Europe, and I meet Mr. Katirai. Mr. Katirai, tell me about the temple site in Tokyo, near Tokyo. Oh yeah, he said, we still own it. The value of that temple site had moved from $150,000 to $50 million. Literally. Shoghi Effendi knew economics beyond any other economist. He had that wisdom. He knew everything we were doing. And he led the Baha'i faith, but every month in the Baha'i News there'd be stories of victories, sometimes defeats. But he let us know that we were in a religion that was out to conquer the world. Our morale was high. We floated on air from the feast. We met saints all over the planet. I met all the hands, I think, of that period. Every one of them reflecting God's beautiful religion, a saintly character, a beautiful spirit, and great knowledge. And then Shoghi Effendi died in 1957. And we all felt completely lost. But strangely, Shoghi Effendi had left behind a will and testament for every National Assembly on the planet. The last story I want to tell, and you'll like this one, Gilbert. Our National Assembly of Northeast Asia had 3 races on it. Of course, Asian, European, and American. And among the Americans, there were Phil Marangella, head of the cause Agnes Alexander, the secretary, and me. There were 4 Americans. I'm the only black. So Shoghi Effendi's last letter to us was, proclaim to the Baha'i world that your assembly has representatives of the three great races of mankind: Persian, white, Asian, Japanese, and American, black and white. Years later, I'm in Nigeria. The Nigerians stand up and say, it's time. There was Americans and Persians on the Nigerian NSA, and someone stood up at the convention and said, it's time that the Nigerian NSA became all Nigerian. I had to stand up and say, you didn't read Shoghi Effendi. The ideal assembly is composed of many races. The same thing happened in Korea, where the people were very unprejudiced against blacks or Americans or other people. But they decided, someone on the floor of the convention in Korea decided, it's time our National Assembly were all Korean. No. Shoghi Effendi said, the ideal assembly is multiracial. Every religion becomes corrupt sooner or later. But Shoghi Effendi, as according to Jesus' prophecy, represented the blissful consummation. Here is a religion founded by God with two prophets, starting in 1844 and going for 150, going until 1957. Book after book after book after book after letter after letter after missile, telling us how to ensure that the Baha'i faith does not make the mistakes of the other religions. Welcome to the Baha'i faith. We make mistakes because we are imperfect. The pure heart that I had for a moment there in crossing the Pacific, it didn't last long. And the same will be true of your own heart. You're going to be pure-hearted for a moment. So let me close and see if there are any questions you want to ask this old man. I'm 96. I have no great memory, but I do remember the important things. So you have a couple of minutes. I think the time limit can expand a bit.
No, it's fine.
So let me take a few questions. First question coming from those who are here for the first time, who don't know much about the Baha'i faith. Let's give them priority. See if they have any questions. If this is your first Baha'i meeting, you have priority to ask any kind of question, and hopefully I might know the answer. If I don't know the answer, I'll point to somebody who does.
So if we have anyone who wishes to, please raise your hand and we can use that mic right there in the center, the one that's in front of the chairs.
Don't be shy. The Baha'i faith does not approve of shyness. That's a theory.
So one question, and that's about the 10-year crusade. So just so everyone knows, including myself, this was following the Korean War, correct? When you were there.
I entered Korea 1 year after the war ended. The war ended in 53. I got there in 54. But the crusade started in 53. The war was still going on, but it ended shortly thereafter. It's about June 53 it ended.
And
it was one of the bloodiest wars ever held in Asia. Extraordinarily bloody. My own brother lost a leg from frostbite there. It was Korean winters are really brutal. And the soldiers were not prepared for that kind of a winter. Lots of soldiers suffered amputations because of frostbite.
Wow. With that in mind, you mentioned something about being a teacher. Were you in school teaching in Korea as well?
My discharge was from the Army. In the Army, I was originally a medic, but they had plenty of medics, and the war wasn't needing a lot, so they moved me to education. So I was a teacher in the Army. And then my discharge at the university was as a professor of English at one of the 5 national universities there, yes.
Wow.
And I'm 55, I'm 26, professor of English at Cheonnam National University, yeah.
Thank you for sharing. We have a question.
Hi. My question is, you were the first pioneer in Korea, correct?
Let's get the microphone, I'm sorry.
It wasn't on for you.
Yeah, here we go. Hello, hello? There we go.
You were the first pioneer in Korea? In South Korea?
I was the first pioneer to South Korea, yes. The second one was right behind me, Bill Smits, now in Hawaii.
Oh, cool. I was wondering what was the most culturally impactful kind of impressions from that population, since you were the first one entering, teaching about the faith.
Korea is an economic miracle. When I got to Korea in '54, the per capita income was $278. The average income of a Korean was $278 a year. If you go back to Korea today, the per capita income is over $30,000. In one lifetime, Korea moved from being as poor as Haiti to richer than half the nations of Europe. Korea is richer than Portugal, Slovenia, and most of the Eastern European countries. The real question is, how in the hell did Korea move so fast to become prosperous? What did they do?
They sent their students to America for education.
Pardon?
They sent their students to America for education.
That's one thing they do, yes. Every Korean wants to come to America.
I went to one of those schools.
Where?
I went to Rhode Island School of Design.
Oh, that's a big one. Yes, if they're in architecture, they want to go to Rhode Island.
And I worked in the admissions office, and we had 3 drawers, last name Kim.
Koreans, well, the real answer, there are about 10 reasons. I can't give them all in 1 minute. One reason is, when you drive through Korea, anywhere in Korea, what do you hear on the radio? Baroque music, classical music, romantic music, Debussy and so on. Drive through America. I drove from Arkansas to Arizona many times, back and forth, back and forth. I turn on the radio, I'm going dial, 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 dial. What do I listen to? JUNK. We Americans have lost sight of the fact that music is a ladder to the soul or a poison to the soul. And we don't discriminate. Korea has, for example, 11 symphony orchestras. My wife and I took my boss and his wife to one of the symphony orchestras. First class, 11 symphony orchestras in this one city. Korea is music oriented. I would get a question from my students very often. Mr. Maxwell, Professor Maxwell, Maxwell Baksanim, tell me about Emerson's theory of self-sufficiency. They have that Confucian Buddhist background of being scholars. They read a lot. And it's good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, for you, any man here that's not married looking for a wife? Another one. Okay, the best wives in the world, according to my living in 60 countries, Koreans and Tongans.
Koreans and what?
Tongans.
Tongans?
Tonga. Down next to New Zealand. Tonga.
Not Persians.
You're already married.
Hey, not Persians.
Oh, yeah, Persians make wonderful wives too.
Okay. Hear that song?
So, do we have any other questions? Oh, we have another question. If you could put it to the mic.
In this national assembly with different backgrounds and different languages, how do you guys communicate it?
So to repeat that question again, in these national assemblies with different backgrounds and many languages, how do you communicate amongst one another?
Oh, yes. Everybody spoke English. There were two Japanese. Their English was not fluent. One was Zenimoto's son, was younger than I. I was 28, but he knew English well. He'd been taught by Agnes Alexander. The older guy, Takano's son, was a big executive at a company, and he had to learn English through college. The Persians all spoke English. By the way, just for your general information, I asked, this is 1959, I asked one of the Persians, there were 26 Persians in Japan as pioneers at that time, 26. How many of these Persians are Muslim, Zoroastrian, and Jewish? You'll never guess. 25 of those 26 pioneers were Jewish background. One was Zoroastrian background. That one who was Zoroastrian, Mrs. Mokbel, is the one who invented the automatic rice cooker. You know the automatic rice cooker? Everybody in the world owns, I think, those little white. It's made for a family. She's the one who invented that. They were all Jewish, all businessmen, and devoted to the faith. I'll tell one little tiny story about them. Mumtazi family, they go back to the time of Tahireh. Tahireh was the first great woman suffrage martyr. Tahireh was a brilliant poetess and became a Babi, which means a pre-Baha'i. And she went around Persia teaching the Baha'i religion. She went to Hamadan in Persia. And in Hamadan, she said, there are no Jews here. Who's the most prominent Jewish family in Hamadan? Someone said, the Mumtazi family over there. Here's what she did. She went to the Mumtazi mansion, threw herself on the floor of the entranceway, and started groaning. Someone opened the door. Are you sick? They asked Tahireh. No, but you are. You're sick because you don't know there's a new religion around. The Mumtazis invited her in. She taught them the religion. And lo and behold, the entire Mumtazi family became Baha'i instantly almost. And they pioneered to Japan as business people, successful business people. Sir, you had a question. It's Reverend Boyd.
My name is Dr. Ken Bird.
Dr.
Ken Bird.
Burns. Oh, sorry.
Bird. Just like the bird that flies.
Bird. I'm sorry, Dr. Bird.
Any minute now I could fly away. But I feel gratified to be able to speak with an almost centenarian. An almost centenarian. And I would ask, how long have you been in the Baha'i faith? How long have you been in the Baha'i faith?
I'm sorry.
How long have you been a Baha'i?
1952, which is
73 years.
75, almost 75 years.
You went in there close to the time I was born. So congratulations. Now, my question for you today is, having been given the privilege to be in your present a man who has been a Baha'i for, so many years. We understand that the Baha'i religion is pretty much a family religion. It's pretty much a family religion, and from the forerunner to Baha'u'llah, and from Baha'u'llah to Shoghi Effendi. My question mainly is, in your experience, have you seen anyone who come close to becoming the next person that demonstrate the demonstration of knowledge that is increasing from one leader to the other one? I notice you have the beard. I wonder if you could be that one, or is there someone else that you could see in your experience of having come close?
I met many Baha'is who were close to saintliness, real saintliness, men and women. I'll name a couple of them for the benefit of the older Baha'is. Ali Naqshbandi, Enoch Olinga, an African, Dr. Mohashir, a Persian, all of the hands of the cause, Kadim, Kazeh, Samandari, all of them were close. But Baha'u'llah warned us there will never be another messenger of God like Jesus, like Muhammad, like Abraham, like the Bab, like Baha'u'llah. There will never be such for 1,000 years. Mm-hmm. After 1,000 years, this religion too will become tired and maybe lazy or something, and God will send another messenger to purify the Baha'i religion.
So that is something that is set in stone, are you saying that?
That's an absolute statement in Baha'u'llah's holy writings.
Okay.
There'll never be another prophet like Baha'u'llah for 1,000 years.
Okay.
So we don't have to worry about someone claiming to be a prophet.
Okay. Thank you for answering my question.
William, maybe you can describe the Universal House of Justice from administrative
Yes.
order that perform those functions.
But Baha'u'llah did not leave us leaderless.
Okay.
He established in every community a local assembly who would be, when they were united and pure-hearted, they would become infallible, guided by God. Then there's a national assembly. When they become united and selfless, they too will become divinely guided to help people. Then at the very top, the Universal House of Justice that national assemblies elect, that body is the Supreme Court of the Baha'i religion. So if you and I become Baha'is and we decide to pick a fight with each other, and you form a sect over here and I want to form another sect, the House of Justice will adjudicate and tell us both we're probably wrong if you argue. So we're not leaderless, unlike other religions. For example, the Christians decapitated Islam with the Crusades. They cut the head of Islam and left it leaderless for 1,000 years. The Baha'i faith will never be leaderless. We have that promise.
Yeah, maybe you should mention that those are elected individual, 9 members that adhere to the business of the religion itself. Members of Universal House of Justice.
Yes, the members of the House of Justice are elected by national assemblies, and they serve for terms. Every 5 years there's another election. They're democratically elected. They individually have no charisma, but collectively they have all the charisma of guidance from Baha'u'llah. Individually, no. Collectively, yes. So we don't have a pope.
We don't have a priest either.
Don't have a...
Priest.
Oh, no priest, correct. Wonderful talking with you. It's a great being here. We better close out because people want to go home and watch their dreams come true.
Indeed, indeed. That's an excellent closing. So with that in mind, we hope before you enjoy your street dreams that we enjoy some sweets, some preludes to those dreams. In the other room, we have plenty of desserts, and we welcome all of you to please enjoy some fellowship and some dessert, and also we have some food that's ready to be taken out, some boxes. Again, thank you, Dr. Maxwell, for being here today. We all are so grateful you came out here, you flew all the way over, and we hope you have a safe flight home. Thank you again.